Welcome to the Beautiful Step Podcast,
where we
run,
stomp,
tiptoe,
and tango into the confusing
but beautiful
world of togetherness. We are your hosts, Kris
and Charity.
Now, let's go make our together even better.
Are we doing morning calisthenics?
You know, you gotta do things for yourself. You know, you gotta energize. You gotta wake up. It's like 6 a.m. in our cabin, and we gotta show the energy. Go, do that again.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I like that. That. This is awful music. It's terrible. There's no way I would listen to that ever.
But people
like by
do,
myself.
But people do. There's like whole cruises when people listen to that, like the whole time.
Wait, on a cruise?
Mm-hmm.
You know I hate cruises.
Yeah, we're not big cruise people.
I can't go on a cruise.
Well, you've been on cruises. I mean, you can't as a relative.
I could do this on a cruise. Ow! Ow! Yeah. I could.
For 4 days straight?
Well, you know, with some mind-altering substances or something like that, like if I wasn't myself.
Yeah.
Not that I would ever do that.
No,
I would not do that.
No.
That's
Enough
just not.
Like, what are the drugs you do on those kind of cruises?
What are the drugs you do on those cruises, Charity? Huh? Let's talk about this.
I don't.
You just went on a cruise with some girls or something.
Yeah, like 5 years ago.
Did you guys do mind-altering drugs?
No. Mm-mm.
You need to confess publicly
Not that
right
kind
now.
of crowd. Not that kind of crowd.
Really?
Nah.
Oh.
But we did eat a lot of soft serve ice cream. Does that count as a mind-altering substance?
Basically. You know, they outlaw sugar in a lot of rehabs.
Oh, because it's addictive.
It is actually addictive.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm.
You know, when we went to Sydney, when Nicole was over there.
Yeah.
Just fair warning for anyone that's going to go over to New Zealand or Australia, the candy is
Yes.
horrid. They have not gotten like the color, that crazy sour, you know what I mean? Like
Well,
the illegal stuff.
let's be clear.
Like in most countries, this candy's illegal. They have not gotten there.
Well, their chocolate is on point because they do Cadbury everything.
Is that where Cadbury comes from?
I don't know, but I don't know if it's like Swedish or what it is, but in Europe, Cadbury is king for chocolate.
Last thing about Sydney. Order Bircher.
Oh yeah, that oatmeal.
Bircher.
That sounds amazing right now. It's like the oatmeal. It's like a hearty oatmeal with like lots of nuts and seeds and fruit and right?
Like a lily or lavender flower on top.
It's gorgeous, yeah.
That I ate.
You ate the flour?
I ate the flour.
You defloured the oatmeal?
Oh! On a cruise, listening to like, hey, yeah, let's get it. No, would never do that in Sydney. Wait, what are we doing?
We're talking about resentment. Does your music go with resentment? It needs to be like angrier, more angsty.
Yeah, that's way too happy and lame.
Yeah. Oh well, so
resentment.
We missed the tone of the music, but that's all right.
So we're still in the cabin. We're coming down to the end of it though. It's October.
Yeah, there's only going to be I think 4 more shows here at the cabin.
Wow, just turned 50 too.
You did.
I know.
Do you feel older?
I don't, which is weird.
Well, is it really?
I don't know. I mean, I do feel older. If I stop and think about it, I'm a little, this right here on my forearm and this right here on my forearm hurt. This and this. And then I get a little crotchety.
Oh, a little.
What?
And that just happened at the age of 50?
Yeah, it just happened. I turned 50 and then all of a sudden I realized, you know what? I'm a little crotchety from time to time.
Let's be clear. He's been crotchety since like 25.
Ouch.
And
say less. Say less now. Okay. No, we're not going there.
And you've actually thought that you're 50 for like the last 3
I know.
years.
I thought, well, who keeps track of their birthday? I mean, does anyone really know how old they are all the time?
I will admit that it does sometimes escape me how old I am.
Right.
But I think most people do keep track of their birthday.
Really? That's for young kids.
True. Yeah. Until you get to the like 99, then you're like eagerly awaiting the day that you're 100. Which, God help me, I hope I never have to endure.
I know people ask me all the time, do you think you're halfway there? And I'm like, damn it, I better not be halfway there. I better be like
at least, third of the way down.
75%.
Yeah,
or
I'm not
something.
gonna go to 100. That would be pain.
Yeah.
Misery and pain.
Misery and pain. Well, it just depends on your quality of life, right?
Unless you went on a cruise with my alter ego self that says, hey, I could do that at 100.
Do you think they make elder cruises like that? Like, hey, live out your MDMA dreams.
Wait, was it you that was saying that? Like the STD?
Oh, yes.
You said this before, I think.
When
I
was a kid, I worked at the STD clinic for the Muni, and one of the things that I was taught there, and I haven't studied this ever, but I was just told this, was that the rate of STDs is the fastest growing amongst elderly populations when they're in like assisted living facilities or just like communal facilities, because now with the blue pill and everything, everybody can get it on, and like, why not? Like, life is short, there's people there, your friends.
I love that.
So it's a thing.
I love that.
You do?
I love that.
You're promoting that. You're promoting STDs?
I think that's wonderful. That's something that you and I can look forward to.
Oh, STDs? I'm not really.
Not an STD, but the vigorous enchantment of bodily passion as we get old.
Okay, all right.
Or something.
Yeah.
It's not over, baby.
It's not over. Yeah.
I'm 50 and I ain't worried at all.
That's right. You're right.
There's ways.
There's ways. Everyone has their ways. Okay, let's talk about resentment.
No.
You don't want to talk about
resentment? It's been fun to riff.
Oh, well, we should talk about a topic, though.
Okay, go.
Okay, I don't know if anyone's read that book.
Okay. So you read 150 books
No,
this year.
I
We're
did
going to
not.
go there
I'm
now?
actually behind.
All right, go.
But the Brené Brown book that came out maybe 2 years ago at the beginning of COVID, Atlas of the Heart.
Yeah, everyone has to have read that or something, right?
Well,
Isn't
no.
Brené Brown like
Oh, yeah, everybody loves
she's the
Brené
guru.
Brown, but she did a book, and she kind of goes through all the emotions. Like, her team goes through the
Right.
different emotions and tells you what to think about them.
Yeah.
So I was reading the book, and it's a good book, but I was reading the book, and I had this aha moment with the book. And
Aha. Okay.
aha.
Aha.
And she did this little chapter, because the whole book is broken out, like each emotion has like kind of a little chapter. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so the little chapter, it's only a few pages
Can
long.
I ask you, does she do the thing where in psychology and in some religious, studies and practices, they boil it down to, I think it's 7 emotions? Does she do that?
No, there's like a ton of emotions.
So she's
in the
got,
book.
okay, so she does a little more nuanced.
Yeah, as far as I
emotional type
remember.
stuff.
It's been a while since I
Anyway,
read the book.
Sorry, go.
But she talks about resentment. And she starts the chapter with like how much she spends her time resenting people because like they're not doing as much as she is. And I was like, oof, I feel that, because I often look at things or people and think, like, why can't you just help out? Why can't you do your part? And I started to think about how much in marriage or in relationships that comes up. Like all the times we were raising kids.
Yes.
And when they were young, and even when they were old, like, it's so easy to resent the other partner for like not doing the things that you think they should be doing.
Okay, pause, because this was a parenting thing for me, right? I definitely told my boys, and Olivia, Jesse, Noah, Cole, Lil, if you see somebody working, get off your ass and help them.
Yes.
I was always saying that to them, right?
Yeah.
And
You would have said bottom though,
bottom,
or butt.
booty.
Yeah, booty.
Booty's a fun.
Booty. We
I like
always
booty.
use booty. Yeah.
Get off your booty and help, because it's rude not to, right? And so for you and I, it got a little bit contentious because you would start to either pick up or clean or do something, and I'd be like, "Oh, I guess we're doing that now." And I would, so I would, take it upon myself to be like, I'm not going to let you just clean or do this work or carry these things in or move this piece of furniture or, do all this without me helping you. Because it's sort of a philosophy thing, right? Like, if someone's working, you help them. Like, you don't sit there and watch them struggle. It's rude.
Right. But I think, you're bringing up a good point, which means that you when times that you wanted to relax, couldn't relax because one of you might have the mood to go start doing something.
Exactly.
And the other person is like, damn it, I just wanted to sit on the couch for a second, but now that you're like cleaning around me, I can't just sit here like a lazy bum because you're going to resent me.
Because I have a sense of duty, and I'm not. I don't want you to resent me. Perfect.
Yeah.
Go.
So sometimes we would have to come to the agreement of like, I really would like to relax. Do you think you could just relax for a minute so that we could relax?
That took a while to get to that point where we were communicating that well.
Yeah.
Hey, look, this is, I can't just sit here and watch you work. Don't do that in front of me.
Yeah. Do not clean in front of me.
Don't clean in front of us.
But there is something about, think of all the times when you have no idea somebody's resenting you. Maybe it's not that obvious. You're not the person sitting on the couch while somebody's cleaning around you. Maybe it's like you're just going about your life, but somebody might consider what you're doing to be not adequate. Like they're resenting. I mean, haven't you ever resented me for things that I didn't know about at the time? Sure.
Yeah.
Even I don't have
I don't have like a quick example, but yes, of course.
Well, I remember like, I would resent you for not doing laundry when I wanted it done. And then you would be like, if I was to say something to you, you would have probably been like, I didn't even know you wanted me to do laundry.
Yeah, but that's not part of the deal, right? Like, I thought we had some sort of thing where if I change oil in the car, you're going to do laundry. I mean, sort of unspoken rule or whatever. Yeah, no, I get it.
But that wasn't our rule. But
but you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The spirit of the rule.
Yes. So I think the thing is, though, like there might be harboring resentment towards people that they certainly don't know about. I think which is on really severe resentment issues, that's usually the case. They have no idea that you're resenting them.
Right. Okay.
But you're rehearsing in your mind a thing. You just want to tell them off. Like you're just so... It's the thing that comes up all the time and you're like, why aren't you doing... Like,
yeah.
And I'm talking about like maybe larger issues than cleaning but there's somebody that you really resent or something that you're resenting that they're not doing. And I think, and she brings up the point that it stems from like your desire for them to be doing. And if you could answer the question, what would you want them to be doing?
Ooh.
Then that might help you understand why you're resenting them. And she was saying, the reality is she was mad because not that they weren't really doing it. So let's take the cleaning example.
Yeah, I was going to say, break this down just really quick.
She was like, okay, if somebody's on the couch and not really doing the cleaning,
right, and
I'm around, I think that I'm mad that they're not cleaning.
Yeah, they're not cleaning. I resent you for sitting around. Yes.
But the reality is, the actual resentment is that I can't be laying on the couch.
Hey, yeah, okay, so... Resentment's not necessarily connected to just being mad.
No, in fact, she was saying in the book, like, actually resentment stems from envy all the time. And I was like,
mind blown.
Like,
yeah.
There might be cases where it doesn't, but I definitely saw her point because I would think the envy is kicking in when I'm saying like, the reason I'm mad is I can't be doing what you're doing, or I won't allow myself the liberty, which is probably more appropriate. I won't allow myself the liberty to do what you're doing.
Or not do.
Or
what I'm doing, or I get it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're taking right now you're taking it from the perspective of what the person who you resent is not doing.
Yes.
But there's also those situations where you resent someone for what they are doing.
Yes.
Right? And so that's the thing. So I'm like, I think I'm about 78% bought in. Because I'm not, I mean, come on. Carte blanche, you can't say that resentment is all envy. I don't think. I don't think you can say that.
Maybe not.
But it's a really fun idea. Like, it's very insightful, and it puts a dimension to resentment that may search you out and get you like, oh, okay, this is the issue, right?
Yes.
So if you put resentment in the category of envy, it gets interesting.
It gets interesting. And she said, really, you could ask yourself the question by starting with those kind of questions of like, what are they doing that I'm resenting or not doing that I'm resenting?
Right.
What would I want them to be doing? What deep down am I like having the conversation about? But then she had this question and I actually stopped. I was sometimes I won't stop when I'm reading to like do the activity or ask myself the question. But in this situation, I thought to myself, okay, I'll ask myself the question because I don't consider myself an angry or bitter person. So when she said, like, ask yourself the question, who have you been rehearsing telling off or been harboring resentment to against for a long time? Like, who is the person that you're constantly, that mantra in your head of like, oh, if I could just tell them what I really thought of the way they behave or the way they don't behave.
Right. Can I just run? Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to hold that thought right
Yeah.
there. So here is one of my sort of resolutions as a person is, and I said it before in a podcast, I'm going to say it again. I think I say it to people all the time. And I got it from somewhere. It's not original. If you're having a conversation in your mind, you need to have that conversation out loud.
Yeah.
Like if you're sitting there bawling someone out in your brain, that is like a key, like a whatever catalyst for it. You actually have to have that conversation. Like I try not to sit and have conversations with people in my mind and without being bold enough or courageous enough to say, like, I have to have this conversation with this person.
Yeah, and that works. I think that's very true. But what if, I think there's another option, which is what she was advocating, is like, maybe you need to do some self-analysis before that and ask yourself why you're bawling them out over and over in your mind.
Right.
And so she asked that question, and I thought to myself, I don't have anybody like that. I can't even think. I literally thought to myself, I cannot think of anyone that I'm like really needing to yell at or like be, that I'm really resenting. But then I thought to myself, okay, Charity, let's extend the history then. Can I ask myself, who in my life have I had those times of serious resentment?
Yeah, because in the moment, maybe you don't have someone that you're just like, ugh.
Right.
But you have been there. Everybody's been there. Yeah.
But if I look back 10 years, 15 years, I can go, there are people that I have like spent some serious time resenting.
Yes.
And what came up was, I thought to myself, okay, there's a couple of women that I have seriously resented in my history.
Women,
yeah. And I would rehearse all the time their life choices. And at the time we were close, or had been close prior to this.
Yeah.
And I would look at the choices they were making, and we all had kind of young kids, and they had chosen to go down a path of like basically still living their life. Like, they didn't abandon everything for their children. They kept their social life.
Right.
In fact, they went even more social and really like became partiers, or like all these things that we never were before. They like found their teenage years as we were like mothering.
And you're in your mind going like, would you freaking grow up?
Actually, I don't even know. Yes. I mean, I think I was doing that, but I had lots of judgment about the decisions they were making. Lots of judgment about it. And I was mad about it, and I was resenting them for choosing that lifestyle. And at the time,
right,
it was all a righteous resentment. It was all a righteous indignation. Like, how dare you be that kind of mom?
Yeah.
Like, now let's keep this in mind. Like, nobody was abusing their children or anything, but I didn't agree with the life they were living in the situation that they were in. And I was just resentful about it. I was mad that they were choosing that. I was mad that, so I was asking myself Brené's question. Well, who have I rehearsed this over and over? And I thought of these women, and I thought, okay, so that's interesting, because I used to resent them for this.
Yeah.
And now I do not. Now I could not say that I resent them for that. And I thought, okay, why is that? If resentment is envy.
Yeah, if you want to connect it to envy, this gets pretty interesting. If
I connect it to envy, then I have to ask myself, what is it about what they were doing that I resented? Because it wasn't like they were my parents. It wasn't like their children were my children. It wasn't like anyone was actually being really, like their children weren't being harmed. Nothing like that. So then I would ask myself, like, why was I so wrapped around the axle about the lifestyle choices they were making?
Well, it's because you were meant to save the world, Charity, and you couldn't save them. That's the reason. They didn't get the, save your charity thing.
Oh, I think that's huge. I mean, well, no, I think
I know.
I think like we have lots of judgments about people's lifestyle, and that might cause resentment.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah. But here's the thing that really struck me is I thought to myself, oh my God, if I'm honest, why did I resent them then and I don't now? Well, what it pointed to is that I think there was elements of correct judgment, like they probably shouldn't have been doing what they were doing. But here's the thing. I resented them because I was envious that they were choosing their freedom.
Oh, man.
And I, at the time, felt like I had no freedom. Now, all by my own self-decision, but I had given up my life for my children. Like, I had decided to abandon my own, like, youthfulness and everything to be the responsible, like, uber responsible person. And deep down, I was looking at them and saying, I'm being so effing responsible. I'm the one doing all this other stuff.
Wow.
Like, I'm the mom of the year. And I was really looking at them and saying, like, why do you get to be like a kid again and having fun and embracing all this freedom and all? Like, who are you to be able to do that? That was deep down going on inside of me. Not that I wanted to do everything they were doing.
Of course.
But there was a piece of it that I was very envious of. And when I realized that like when I asked myself the question about why I felt that then and really kind of honed in on that, I was like, oh my God, that is true. But then, why don't I have it now? Why am I not resentful now?
I love where you're going with this.
Because it's the same situation, really. I don't have the same lifestyle as they do. It's like, but I will say, I have a new freedom in my life in that, like, I am not uber religious. I'm much more relaxed. I'll have a glass of wine. Like all these other things.
Let's just say you do what the hell you want to do.
Exactly. Like I have tons.
Go where you want to go. Be who you want to be. Love who you want to love. Give where it matters. Yeah.
Yes.
Go.
Like I get to do that now. I have so much freedom in my life now that I really get to call the shots. So what was very telling is that why do I no longer have resentment is because I have my own liberty now. I don't resent their liberty because I have my own liberty now. And I was like, oh my God, that is a really, so Brené's thing about like it being envy.
Right.
For that situation was absolutely accurate for me because I didn't envy them anymore when I had my own liberty.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really cool exercise for someone.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're not bought in, right? Even if you say, oh, I'm just mad at them, that's why I resent. Maybe someone should do that exercise and just say, well, what if it was envy?
Yeah.
What if it were envy? You
yeah.
know, let's just unpack what it could possibly be.
Yeah.
That you envy.
Yeah.
You know, which you're calling resentment. That's power.
Yeah. So we were talking about it, and I was telling you about like my epiphany. Like I resented them because and I was having this like aha moment, which was a really freeing moment because I realized like, oh, if you can label and call what you were doing, remove it out of the moral righteous category and say like, maybe it wasn't a righteous feeling I had. Like envy is certainly not a good feeling. Like why was I doing that? And once I could like determine that, it was actually very liberating for me to see myself doing what I was doing. Right. And then let it go.
Yeah. I remember the walk.
Yeah.
I remember the walk. I mean, we were at our Vegas place. I love to say that. And we were walking on our trail, walking the dog, and you started in on this. Yeah. And you started, talking about this, and then you asked me, well, who is it that you have these conversations with in your mind, or over time, or maybe in the past you've done that, And, I picked out a few people, two of which really were standing out to me. Yeah. And I was thinking about, I've always just sort of put it in the category of, they are, the people who I think about in this situation, these two people, I was always thinking it was like, they're just sort of conniving or something. Okay. Or like, there's this like, they are I don't know, like manipulative in getting their own way. That was this thing of like, I was like, I don't like this about these two different people.
Because they were getting their own. What were you resenting?
Well, that's just it. Okay, so here's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I'm trying. So the thing that I discovered on the walk was, in particular, one person just said some really mean stuff about me. Mm-hmm. You know, and you know, put forth a story.
Sure.
That I was like, that's really not how that is. And I'm not like that, and that's not how that situation went. Right? And so, and I always resented this person for like leading out with that and being like all vocal about it, you know? Yeah. And then another person whom I resented was they were in a way sort of copying me in a way. It was weird. It was this weird thing where this person was just doing, you know, sort of the same things that I was doing, but, you know, doing it on their own. Mm-hmm. If that, okay, yeah. You know, like sort of owning it for themselves or whatever. And I resented that. I was like, man. And so those were the two conversations that were coming to my mind, and I'm thinking these are totally disconnected. Like, that, you know, there's no connection here. And how could I envy that? Anybody would be just mad. It wouldn't be really resentment. You know, it would be just, I'm mad at that person for sort of defaming me, or I'm mad at this person over here for like sort of copying me or whatever. And I started to think, okay, well, what if it's connected to envy? Like what if these two things are more similar than not?
Oh, I like that.
You know, and I was thinking, well, let's just try it out.
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
And so I started to think it through, and I was thinking, okay, what is it that I wish that they would be doing?
I love it. Yeah.
And the thing that I wish that they would be doing was the very thing that they were doing, because here's what they were doing.
Okay.
Is they were standing up for themselves. They were doing something for themselves and really believing their story and doing, you know, they were being vocal about what they were doing and the way that they saw stuff and what they wanted to, you know, sort of accomplish.
They were doing what they wanted to do.
They were doing what they wanted to do, but they were also, they were out loud about it. They were not hiding it. They were not stuffing it. They were not unsure about it. They were just boldly doing, and I was like, wow, you know, it takes some balls to, you know, copy a guy, or it takes some balls to, like, you know, have that take on that situation, and that's not right. You know what I mean? It just take, you know, and if I were to say envy is connected to, or resentment is connected to envy, and there's a quality in both of those people who I'm, you know, sort of bawling out in my mind, if there's a quality in them that I would like to have, like, you know, in the spirit of like, why do you get to sit on the couch? I really want to sit on the couch. What I realized about myself in that moment was, I'm really angry at myself that I haven't spoken up more.
Wow.
I'm kind of sad about that, you know? Like, I'm like, they were living out loud, and they were, you know, making their decisions, and they were vocal about it, and they were sure about it. And there's something about, there's just something that, you know, God wanted to correct in me through those situations.
Yeah.
Like, Cole hits me with this all the time. He's like, man, why do you downplay your stuff? Like, because I'll be like, you know, I'm building a house with and for him. And I'm like, you know, a lot of times I'll be like, you know, it's, you know, we're faking it pretty good. And, you know, every once in a while I'll stop and be like, I don't know why you're downplaying that. Like, you're really good at this.
Yeah.
You know, and it's this whole thing of like, wow, I think I envied those guys for doing that, because, I mean, they weren't even good at what they were doing. And they weren't even really, seriously, you know, they weren't even, it wasn't even really based in reality, yet they were still really vocal in standing up for themselves and getting what they wanted.
Yeah.
And I think that was the piece that I would like to be better at. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah.
Did I connect that?
Yeah,
It connected
sure.
for me.
That's a really good point. And I love how you took two things that did seem very different. Like you would look at the situations and go like the resentments aren't at all similar, but actually the envy is similar.
The envy's similar.
The envy is like they're doing what they want, and whether it was good or not is in the eye of the beholder. Right. But the point is that they believed themselves.
Exactly. And there are too many times in my life, and I'm not blaming this on Christianity, but I'm blaming it on Christianity. It's this, or my interpretation on what Jesus did or was. And it's this, you see him hanging on a cross, doing the right thing, man. He was like doing the thing that was going to save the world, yet he said nothing. And he was taking it on the chin, and he was saving the world and all that stuff. And so for me, I look back on my life and I'm like, man, there's too many times in my life where I wish I could go back and I wish I could stand up for myself.
Wow.
I wish I should have stood up for myself. I should have said, because I can stand up for other people. It's like, hey, man, I'll help you bury the body in the backyard if somebody disses you. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. Yeah. But for me, that was a real eye opener. I was like, man. And then it goes into like, well, how do you do that in a healthy way? How do you do that in a productive way? But that was a really big deal for me. Like, whoa, I do look at my life and think, I know that I would have had a more full human experience if I would have along the way been more able to sort of stand up for myself, put my foot down in ways that were right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Talking about maybe not be as gullible, maybe not be as passive, those types of situations.
Yeah.
Where.
What I love about this is that it takes it from, it's an empowering thought.
Yes.
I mean, you might look at it and go like, why would I want to admit being envious of somebody? Like that's a disempowering stance. But actually it's not. Because the disempowering stance is to say that someone else's actions can cause you to do a certain thing. But what I love about this is it says, someone else's actions made me respond in a way that I have to own. And it really wasn't their actions. It's my response to their actions that are like making this occur in my life. And so by labeling it envy and saying, well, then I have full control over whether I envy that or not. If I can figure out why I'm envying them, if I can figure out what that is, and then just call it envy and being like, okay, there's something about that I want. What I love about the concept of envy is envy should tell you, instead of moralizing, quit moralizing envy. Right. Quit saying it's bad or good. Just leave that if you can't actually like
just observe it
in your mind. Like approve of it. Stop. You don't need to approve of it right now. Right. Just let it tell you something about yourself. And if you could say, I have this envy, what does this mean? What it should say is, I have the envy because I think I could do or be that. You would never, would never envy somebody that absolutely didn't think you could. Like, if you wouldn't envy something, I don't envy women's professional soccer players. You know why? Not because they're not badasses. I don't envy them because there's no way in hell I could even try something like that, or a gymnast or something.
You don't envy them because you're a little clumsy.
I'm clumsy.
You're a little clumsy.
But here's the thing. That should tell me something. I don't envy them because that's not what I want to be, because I'm not at all good. I'm not capable of that. But here's the thing. I envy things I'm capable of and I'm just not doing.
Dude.
I mean, like.
Oh, you envy things that you're capable of, that you're not doing, and that you know you should.
And you're choosing not to. Whether that be speaking up, whether that be like asking somebody for help, whether that be the one taking time to relax when you need to relax instead of trying to save the world.
Or whether that's that thing of like, look, I work really hard. Well, you know what? I need to play really hard.
Yes.
You guys are all playing and I'm working. No, wait, that's...
It's
I
the
love
like,
that. That's...
what? Because I would envy a female CEO that's crushing it. Because I know I could do that. And so honestly,
that's super cool, babe.
Instead of moralizing that, I can go like, well, then let's just be honest about why I'm feeling resentment. Well, I'm feeling resentment because I know I could do that and I'm just simply not doing it. I'm not doing the work. I'm not putting in the work or doing the release or doing whatever else I need to do to get to that thing that I'm envying.
And I think you're kicking into this really cool idea of one of the questions I ask myself right now, or in my life, is when I see that kind of thing that I, secretly know that I'm either capable of or really want to do, or am wondering if I'm capable of.
Yeah.
I do ask myself, for you, it'd be a CEO. You're looking at the CEO and you're thinking, I have these feelings, I don't know, I think I'm a little angry, or I think I'm a little resentful. And you have to ask yourself, is it because they're intimidating me or they're inspiring me?
I love that.
And that's such a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can go, oh, it's because I'm intimidated, then it's like, well, hang on. You're way more powerful than that.
Yeah.
And if it's, an inspiration thing, then it's like, I need to practice.
Yeah.
All they're doing is accusing me of the stuff that I haven't done. Like,
Yes.
their life is like an accusation of like, why aren't you doing better, right? So I love that.
Can I just say one thing about intimidation that just drives me crazy? Because I have been a boss a lot, and because I'm a female and I'm kind of assertive, lots of women have this, for some reason, I'm just going to throw it out there.
Go.
Weak women and weak people go to people and say, I'm intimidated by you. And can I just tell you right there, like, if you go to someone and say you're intimidated by them, it says nothing to the person intimidating you except for the fact that you're weak. It's not the person's fault that they're intimidating
Right.
you. It's your fault that you're being intimidated. It says way more about the person. It says, in fact, the only thing it's saying is that the person being intimidated is either envious or has decided something, but that's on them because we choose how we react to people.
I love it.
So if I'm intimidated by somebody, quit being a chicken shit and going to them and saying, I'm intimidated by you and that's why I act all like whatever. And I'm like, no, I call bullshit. You're intimidated by whoever, whoever.
Yeah.
Because there's something that you're not doing that you feel like you should, whether it be standing up for yourself,
right, come on,
speaking up, doing whatever it else is that you need to do. And that's on you. It has nothing to do with me or anybody else that's intimidating you.
Preach it. I love it, man. One of the lines that stuck out to me in my religious studies, I can't remember where it's from. It might have been from you. I have no idea. But it's the idea that you are not a set of circumstances. Like, your life is not a set of circumstances.
Yeah.
It's a set of responses.
I love that.
To circumstances.
That wasn't me, but I love that.
Isn't that good?
Yeah.
That was me then. I have no idea. But it's how you respond is who you are.
Yes.
It's not what has been done. Yes, that is crucial to how you process and your worldview and all of that, like the things that have been done or things you've endured or whatever.
Yeah.
All of that. But it really is how you respond.
Yeah.
That makes you who you are.
Yes.
And I think that's
it's always how you respond.
Yeah.
Because that's what you get to control. You don't get to control other people.
Which is why I love this idea of just go through the exercise and see.
Yes.
And just pick envy or pick
resentment.
Or connect the two.
Yeah.
Connect resentment to envy and just kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
you're going to respond in a way that you go, oh.
Ask yourself, who are you having that conversation over and over again with? And why? Like, be honest.
Yeah.
Quit blaming other people. Be honest as to why you're resenting them.
I love it.
Are they doing something or not doing something that you want them to be doing? And then what does that say about you?
Giddy up. I love it. Okay, so can I do one other thing on you really fast here?
Yes.
I like this. I love where we're going. This is good. But I want to say, okay, so you have resentment, right? Or just, I have resentment.
Okay.
Or I'm having a secret conversation in my brain, and I need to have this thing out loud, right? So you have these times where in relationship, especially marriage, and with children, where you can't help but have a confrontation.
Yes.
Like you're going to have a little blow up.
Yeah.
Right? And someone is going to tell you, hey, this is the way I see you.
Yeah.
Right? This is the thing. I remember, and I've said this before, but I remember one of the most pivotal times in our relationship and in my psyche was when I was making, whatever excuses and this and that. And I was kind of, doing, I can't remember the exact situation, but I remember you stopping me and you said it out loud. You were like, you're such a quitter.
Oh, we were very young in our marriage.
Very young in our marriage. And you had said that, and it was like, duh, like, whoa, I didn't see the thing that you saw as quitting. I was seeing it as like whatever else it was. It could have been really wise decision making.
Yeah.
So I didn't, get myself in trouble financially or, whatever it could have been. I kept on, categorizing it as something other than quitting. And you're like, look, man, face it. You quit too quick. Like you're just quitting on me or on it or on that.
Yeah.
And here's the idea. I'm not talking about quitting, but I am talking about that confrontation. So what happens in situations like that, like in that situation, I thought to myself, well, F you. I thought to myself, oh, okay. If you see me like that, I'm done. Like I'm not interested in I can't believe that you see me that way. And what happens in that confrontation is you think in your mind, as the person who's being confronted, you think, today is the day that they see me like this. And what you don't realize is they've been seeing you like this for 2 years, or 3 or 4 years. They've always thought this about you.
Yes.
And they're just now finally saying something.
They've been having that secret conversation.
They've been having so they've been observing you. Today's not the day where they see you as the quitter. They see you as the quitter, or they see you as this person for this long.
That's a really good point.
Here's the reason why it's such a good point is because what you're going to do as the person who's confronted is you're going to back away. You're going to go, you know what? F you. I see how you think of me or whatever. You're going to do that and you're going to back away. And it's the complete opposite of what you should do, because what happens when you do confront someone, like if you're the person doing the confronting, you're moving toward the person. So what you're doing is you're creating this intimate moment where you're getting something off your chest and you're moving toward the person, right? And what happens when the person is confronted is they can't see any of that because they're thinking, oh, this is how you see me now? You know what I'm saying?
Are you saying they're moving towards you because they're actually taking the courage to try to correct something in the relationship?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what happens is in the person who is doing the confronting, they're feeling like, at last, I'm relieved. At last, I feel closer to you. At last, I feel like we're now being honest, and we have, and it's an intimate thing for them. And what happens is, as you're being confronted, you retreat, you back up, and that's completely wrong.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I think it's just so important when someone confronts you, to not take it, to take it in I guess keep in mind that they have seen you like this. This is the way that they see you. Or this is the thing that they've been seeing in you for this
I think
long.
that's a better way, because that might not be the only thing they see. And when you say like, this is the way they see you, it feels so all encompassing.
Exactly.
And you feel like you withdraw because you're like, well, they've always seen me as a quitter, and that's the only thing they see. But that's not really
It's not true. Right.
It's just that one component that they really needed to address to better the relationship.
And here, exactly. And here's the thing: is like in that situation when you called me a quitter, it's so key that you said what you just said, because we had a loving relationship.
Yes.
We had fun. We were, we were doing all of this stuff. There was so much success, and and all of these things. And meanwhile, you had seen this thing in me this whole time. But now that I'm seeing it, or now that I'm seeing that you saw it, in my brain, I'm thinking, this is the only way this person sees me.
Yeah.
And so it's very important that when someone does confront you, that you don't take that, what they're saying, and being like, this is the only way they see me. No, they've been actually dealing with this for many, many years, and they still really love you, and they're moving toward you.
I love that.
And they're finally at a point where they're like, we're closer now, right? Like,
well, you only say that stuff to the people that you love. If you don't love them, who you love, if you don't love them, you're just going to dismiss it. You're just going to be like, well, I'm walking away. Like, I don't even need to confront this. That's too hard. It's too courageous. It's too bold. It's too vulnerable, honestly.
Right.
I'm just going to walk away and not confront that. You know when somebody actually doesn't love you, when they're never going to address things like that.
Absolutely.
Then you should actually be really afraid.
And what they're also saying, and when you're being confronted by someone, what they're also saying is, I see something in you that you're just not letting, you're letting go, or you're so much better than this. And like,
that's it.
And what they're also saying is like, I see you as so much stronger than this.
Yeah.
And so much more capable. And this is not congruent with who I know that you are.
Well, it's kind of like you're envious for that person. You're resenting the way they're acting. Like in that, if you take that situation and, talk about like me saying this quitting thing when we were very first married, it's like, well, really what I was trying to say, and I probably didn't do it right, but it was like, I'm resentful that you're acting this way because I know that you're capable of not acting this way. Right. I'm envious of the Kris who's really strong and doesn't quit and is resilient and tenacious. I'm envious for him and about him, and I know, like you're saying, I know that you're capable of more, and therefore I'm going to do the hard thing, which is to say like, I know you're capable of more.
Right.
And you'll do the same for me. And when somebody loves you when they're willing to do that.
100%.
But this resentment thing, I think this is such a critical thing, especially in relationships, because you could spend a long time being resentful of your partner about random stuff that's never said, and stop that.
I love it.
Don't let it become a deal breaker, a play breaker 50 years in.
Yeah.
Let it be the thing that right now you're addressing it and going, okay, why am I mad that he's playing a video game right now? Why am I mad that, like my kid is doing this or that? Well, okay, I need to then be honest about that and say, it shouldn't be,
so good.
It's not really resentment if you're just having like these one-offs, like I'm mad that they did this action. But those recurring conversations, those are going to tell you where resentment lies.
Right. And the thing is, for me, that I have to remember is when you are confronted, that's a forward move.
I love that. Yeah.
And you've had all of this time together operating in, think about it. Like, even though you saw this quality in me, we were still having sex. We were going on vacation. We were, you still fully embraced and loved me.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and I love the idea of like, oh, it's not that they're just now seeing this.
Yeah.
It's that they're just now saying something.
This is a really key point, because I really love where you're going with this, because you can, like you're saying, take that and then say, well, our relationship's never going to be the same. I was like, well, actually, nothing changed about your relationship.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Nothing changed.
Right.
It's just that now there is an honesty there and which leads to the freedom.
Right. And it's so hard to deal with the fact that you're not perfect.
Oh, God.
And it's so hard to deal with the fact that there are, in every single relationship that you have, people see a side of you that they're like, man, that's weak, dude. That's really weak. That you can't see, or that maybe you think you've hidden really well. Mm-hmm. You know? And it's like, no, they see it.
We all.
And you go like, I didn't want to be that guy. I guess I am that guy. But I'm telling you, the thing that happens when you can get resentment on the table, like when you can get the issue on the table, is that the person who is being confronted really does have an entirely new sort of, I don't want to say game, but an entirely new sort of beautiful challenge.
Yes.
I loved it when you told me, oh, you're such a quitter, because I started thinking to myself, holy shit, I have options. I was like, I don't have to make an excuse. Like, it was one of those things where it was like, whoa. You could open up, a menu and choose some other responses, because, by the way, you're not just your circumstances. You are your responses to your circumstances, right?
Yes.
It's like, wow. You just end up in this sort of trap of, well, this is how I do it, or this is the way this goes, and someone comes and calls bullshit on it. And they're like, there's a world out here that, I think that you could dominate in, or do really well in, that you're really not participating.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just such a beautiful thing about the whole confrontation. Because I remember I was talking to, and I can say this because Rodney Wild and I are really good friends, and I think he would say this too, and we both came to a point where we agreed, most men, even though they put off like a tough, I mean, Rodney Wild's a beautiful guy. You should see him. He's
like a bodybuilder guy.
Yeah, he's 65 years old.
He's not really.
I know. I keep telling him he's 65. And he's just, strong, the essence of a man or whatever. And he and I both had agreed at one point through a conversation where we were like, I think guys just don't like confrontation. A lot of guys,
Does anyone like confrontation?
I know,
really?
but I don't know why. But we were just talking about that. Like, I'm scared of it.
Yeah.
Guys are typically scared of confrontation.
You just don't want to be, no one wants to be stuff pointed out that you're not doing.
And no one wants to be an asshole and do the confronting.
Yeah.
So I guess that's, I want everyone to like me. I want everyone to see me as I'm putting myself on, or out there.
Yeah.
And that, and I, and it's just so funny that you're not fooling anyone.
Yeah. You're
So,
not fooling anyone.
Right. And so I guess what I'm getting at too is, I love the self-searching idea of, if you connect resentment to envy, and I also really do, even though it's hard, I do really appreciate confrontation.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate that when someone is honest enough to say, come on, man, you're better than this,
And that is a loving act, and knowing that you should really only do that when it's a loving act.
Right.
You should only confront when it's a loving act.
Exactly.
When you're actually envious of who they could be.
Yes. Yeah. And the other part of that, in my experience, is that is a move toward you.
Yeah.
And your first reaction is going to be, all is lost, I'm done. If that's the way you see me, F you. And that's not the point. The point is, I've been seeing this the whole time.
Yeah.
And loving you the whole time.
But now I love you enough to say something.
Right. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is good. Hopefully people can kind of do that question, that exercise, and uncover some envy.
I love it.
Yeah.
You love this? Yo.
Hey, you know what? That's 50 years of wisdom right there, baby. Come on.
There we go.
Yeah. And 50 years of you taking me to task. I love that. It's like, guys are like, I love her because she calls me on my shit. It's like, No, you don't.
Well, you still have to love me.
Yeah. Love you, baby.
Love you.
Wait, babe, wait. How do we end this?
By saying thank you.
Okay, you guys are awesome. Thank you. There's nothing more encouraging than you hitting that like button and commenting.
And don't forget to subscribe.
And I know there's more. You have a list. Might as well go down the list.
Right. Okay. Watch the video of this podcast on our Beautiful Step YouTube channel or on our website where you can actually download transcripts and show notes of the episode. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
If today's episode made your together even better, tell someone.
Okay. Now.
Right now.
Today.
Okay.
You can take one step.
It's just one step.
Toward the beautiful relationship you want in your life.
You got this.